Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I am back again from a quick vacation period that I took, and today I'm here to share with you my favorite or my top 5 plugins to mix rock music. We're gonna do that right after this intro. So if this is the first time you're visiting us, this channel is all about music production. Here, our purpose is to share with you tips, tricks, and information, everything we can to help you make better songs. So if you are a self-producing artist, aspiring engineer, recordist, or producer, this channel is for you. If you haven't done so yet, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications so that you are aware every time we have new content on this channel. Now, without further ado, I'm going to tell you which are my top 5 favorite plugins to mix rock music in 2021, which could be different next year. But this is what I've liked so far, and it is what I'm using right now. If you want to see in detail how I use and the sound of each one of these plugins, go ahead and check out the first video of the How to Make a Rock Ballad series. I am using each one of these plugins and you will be able to hear them out. So starting from number 5 in my list of favorite plugins, we have the SSL Compressor by Waves. And the reason why this bus compressor is part of my list is because I really like the way it sounds. Obviously, I use it in the parallel drum compression and I use it in the mix bus. And what it does to me is that when I have a sort of like dispersed mix, it brings it all together in a very cohesive way. And particularly while it does that, it also imprints some character and color to the sound that I really like, and is very familiar to the sound that you find in rock recordings from the late 90s and early 2000s, which is the sound that I grew up listening to. It also does something very interesting to the sound of the snare. It rounds it up a little bit, and to the drums in general when I use it in parallel compression. So that would be number 5. Now coming up at number 4, we've got the Echoboy from SoundToys. And I've tried many reverbs and delays, but this is the one that I find myself using more often. I have very good things to say about others like the Valhalla or even my stock plugins from Pro Tools, which are used by professionals in, incredibly popular and professional recordings for major artists. But still, I like the Echoboy in my case, in my opinion, for what it does to the vocals, particularly delays. That slap delay and long delays, they just sound awesome to me, and I continue going back to this plugin over and over, and that's why it is making up my list of favorite plugins. Coming up in number 3, the CLA 76 by Waves. Now, this emulation of the, if I'm not mistaken, Uray 76 compressor is not the only one. You can find others in the market, and I guess they will pretty much do the same. This is the one that I know, and I really like it because of what it does to vocals in other instruments, mainly vocals. It really adds a ton of character and color to the sound. It brings the vocals pretty in-your-face vocals. And that's also a pretty common and familiar sound in rock music. Rock music is all about compression, I would say. And this one does a pretty good job. And it also has that color and character that reminds me of that same rock from the 90s and early 2000s. So I really like it. I use it a lot. There are alternatives. For example, I used to use also the CLA bundle from Waves. And there's when you use the vocal plugin and you add compression, it sounds just like that one. But when you have the compressor emulation, you get the benefit of the parameters. You can mess with the release and the attack and all of that. Now, coming up in number 2, the L1 limiter by Waves. Now, this is a plugin that I had, but I didn't use it for a while. And I think it came with the gold bundle from Waves. I'm not sure. but I had it for a while and I wasn't using it until someone recommended it to me. And it really impressed me. I felt sorry that I didn't use it before. I really recommend that you guys give it a try. And what it does to me is that it helps me bring consistency to the vocals, and it helps to avoid the other instruments to drown the vocal. Like, for example, if you're coming to a chorus and there's going to be a denser mix, that's not going to choke your vocals. That's what I hear. So I've been able to bring down the level of my vocals and get a more balanced mix thanks to this plugin, and don't have to rely that much in automation, even though I still use it. But I think it evens out the dynamics of the vocals. And it also adds a lot of grit and character to the vocals, particularly for rock music. But I know, though, that this plugin is widely used by major producers in a lot of genres, not necessarily rock only. I fell in love with it. I can't stop using it. I also use it with the bass to achieve that same effect. So this is a problem solver to me. So that's why it made the list, and it is number 2. So give it a try. I recommend it. Now, coming up in number 1, top of the list, the SSL Channel by Waves. So the first thing that I have to say about this plugin is that it is very versatile. It has a compressor, so if I didn't have the 76, I could use that one. It's got a gate that's going to be pretty handy and useful for mixing live drums. And it also has the EQ, which is what I like the most. And I like the way that you can do creative EQing with this plugin. And I like the way you can do both corrective EQ with the high pass and low pass filters. And you can also do creative EQ with this plugin. And that's what I like the most. I love the presets it comes with. If you've been following me and checking out the other videos, you've seen that I start most of the times from presets and then I make my way around it. I love those CLA presets it comes with, and I use them a lot. I think the way maybe the curves, the EQ curves are designed or emulated are pretty musical, and it just reminds me a lot of that rock sound that I'm after. So this one would be, I would call my Swiss knife, and it would be my favorite in the list, along with the L1. The other ones I maybe could replace, but one thing that I wanted to say is that it is not about the plugins. If you have a particular sound in mind, you should be able to achieve that with your stock plugins, and that's actually a cool challenge. So I could make a video about that and maybe do a mix or a remix only using stock plugins. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see that. But the important thing is that if you're a good mixer, you can achieve a great sound even with stock plugin. Now, before we finish this video, I would like to make some honorable mentions. Another plugins that I use, some other plugins that I constantly use are the Decapitator. I use that to add a harmonic content and harmonic distortion saturation to the tracks, particularly the snare, vocals, guitars. And because of the versatility on different sounds you can pick, I use it a lot. I have an alternative in Pro Tools, but I keep coming and using the Decapitator a lot, so it is part of the list, widely used in rock music as well. Then second or honorable mention would be the R-Bass. That's also a utility plugin that I use to fix my low end. It helps you bring those bass notes up in the frequency spectrum, and you're able to hear the bass a little better in smaller speakers or with headphones in your cell phone. So that's one that I use all the time for the bass, and probably maybe the kick drum even, or floor toms. And my final honorable mention would be to the Waves F6. This is a tool also that I use to do corrective EQ mostly. And, it is a multi-band dynamic EQ that you could use to do a lot of things. But I also like the frequency spectrum it comes with, and I use it a lot to visualize the frequency spectrum of my tracks. So it is there with me all the time. That's why I wanted to mention it. Okay, so that would be it for my favorite plugins I'm currently using. Let me know in the comments below if you think, guys, maybe you've tried any other plugins that could replace the ones that I have. I will also continue exploring and experimenting with different plugins. I would like to find a effects plugin that does a lot of things, and it is also, it sounds good. That's one that I haven't found and would probably make my list of top plugins next year. Now, if you think this video was useful and you were able to learn or take something out from it, please don't forget to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel. That way you will be supporting us and we can continue making more videos like this one. Now, in the next video, I will continue talking about plugins. I will show you my favorite plugins for vocals. A new series is also coming up. We'll be working in a new song. So stay tuned to the channel. Don't miss it out. And I will see you guys in the next episode.